Elena, what's gotten into you? I don't recall you ever devouring cutlets with such gusto, remarked Ekaterina, Elena's sister by marriage and her best and most faithful friend. It's been over a week since we had any meat at home, confessed Elena, smiling as she popped another piece of cutlet into her mouth. So, I have to make the most of it. And you're just casually mentioning it like that. Did Sergey do something and you decided to teach him a lesson? Ekaterina asked, but before Elena could answer, Elena's phone rang, and after a brief conversation with her husband, she thanked her sister for the delicious treat and hurried home. It had become a pattern in their family that, in their 3 years of marriage, they never had a serious argument. People considered Elena and Sergey the perfect couple. Overall, everything was great, but on this Friday evening, Sergey, comfortably seated at the table, remarked in surprise, "Elena, what's this? Vegetable stuffed cabbage rolls? You're really surprising me." "Isn't it delicious, Sergey?" "Yes, very delicious. But yesterday we had pasta with eggplant, the day before it was pilaf with vegetables, and before that it was potatoes with fried onions and herbs." "I have to admit, hungry as I am," the hungry man confessed. "Tomorrow is Saturday, what special treat will you spoil me with?" "For a whole week now, breakfast has been plain oatmeal." "I'm craving something special," he said. The woman pondered for a moment, glanced around the kitchen, settled her gaze on a cute pumpkin, and replied, "I think I'll make pancakes. I believe pumpkin ones will be just as good as zucchini, maybe even more interesting." Watching Sergey's expression change, Elena rejoiced. Her simple plan seemed to be working. Finally setting aside his fork, Sergey asked, "Listen, Elena, am I missing something? Have you decided to become a vegetarian? Do you think I haven't noticed that we haven't had any meat in our menu for a week now?" "It's been a week and a half, Sergey." "Already a week and a half. I haven't bought any meat for home." "What's with this protest? Who convinced you that meat is harmful?" "I'm the man here. And I need meat," he protested. Turning to press a button on the kettle, the woman carefully hid her smile. She had achieved what she wanted without any scandals. "Sergey, I simply don't have money for meat. We have to make do with what our parents bring from the dacha and what you bring from the store. Of course, the selection of products isn't luxurious, but it does stimulate the imagination quite nicely." Sergey was outraged. "But you got paid a couple of weeks ago. You could have bought meat, fish, or some other hearty food." "I agree, I could have, but I chose not to." "Are you trying to punish me or something?" he asked, surprised. "No, of course not. What punishment? I simply don't have money. And I didn't want to dip into our family savings. It's become customary for me to pay all the utility bills and buy necessities like household chemicals with my card." The man remained silent, although he already suspected what his wife was leading to, but he let her finish. "You're not so naive to think that I wouldn't notice there haven't been any additions to the stash in the box where we put our savings for several months now. I haven't seen any major purchases from you, no expensive gifts. I've been waiting for you to tell me about this for a long time. Who are you giving your salary to?" But you continued to stay silent. "So, I had to take action through your stomach. Come on. Spill it, where did the money go, silent one?" Sergey became quite embarrassed. "Elena, forgive me for staying silent for so long. I understand it's impossible to live on just one salary." Elena wasn't particularly impressed by her husband's repentance. She asked directly, "Get to the point, Sergey." The man admitted, "For the past few months, I've been transferring or giving a large portion of my salary to my mom in cash." Elena didn't expect such an explanation. "Sergey, but she's a working pensioner and as far as I understand, she's doing quite well financially. At least, she always managed before. Did something happen to her?" Sergey hesitated. Actually, Mom asked me not to tell you anything about this. Elena was genuinely scared. She had always considered herself lucky with her mother-in-law. Mrs. Irina had never interfered in their family affairs. Sergey, we're a family, in case you forgot. I think Mrs. Irina was wrong to ask you to keep her secret because it led to mistrust and unpleasant consequences in the form of a forced vegetarian diet. Come on, tell me already, don't keep me waiting. Promise you won't call your mom and scold her. What are you talking about? I've never said a bad word to Mrs. Irina, come on, tell me. With a sigh, the man began to explain. 3 months ago, Mom's longtime acquaintance invited her to an evening. She said it was a gathering with good people. Like a poetic soiree combined with a presentation of cosmetic products, for both the soul and the body. The only condition was to bring a passport, supposedly because it was in an office building, where everything is strict. Anyway, Mom went there, listened to some enthusiastic speeches by unknown poets. Then they treated everyone to herbal tea and started offering to try the cosmetics. Long story short, Mom came home from this gathering with a suitcase of unnecessary products and a signed contract for a loan with exorbitant interest rates. So now I'm helping her fulfill the obligations to the bank. Hearing her mother-in-law's story, Elena shook her head and gently reproached her husband. Well, Sergey, you surprised me even more than your mom did. She got scammed by those swindlers using a well-known scheme. But it's not only Mrs. Irina's fault in this. Anyway, call your mom, let her at least send a photo of that contract. I'll try to talk to this classmate of mine. She works at a law firm. Maybe she can offer some helpful advice. It wasn't resolved immediately, but they managed to deal with Mrs. Irina's problem and essentially get rid of it with just 3 payments. To celebrate their liberation from the burden of the loan, Elena arranged a special dinner for her loved ones, making her signature dumplings with 3 types of meat. Treating Elena, her mother-in-law apologized. Forgive me, my dear, I blamed myself so much for this situation that I was ashamed to confess my gullibility to you. It's all right, Mrs. Irina. I just hope Sergey won't have any more secrets from me, Elena responded. The man vigorously shook his head. Absolutely no more secrets, because I don't want to end up on a vegetable diet again.